Oh,
Wake up.
oh, wake up. What's going on, everybody? So we haven't seen you guys in a while, but we are certainly happy to be here with you tonight. I have the beautiful Catherine with
Howdy.
me. This is our 1 year anniversary special. I certainly appreciate you guys taking time out of your busy schedules to hang out with us on a Friday night. I know there's nothing else cooler going on than hanging out with us. So certainly, already a bunch of people in the chat. So that's what's up, man. We're going to have a good time, a lot of fun tonight. It's been a crazy year for us.
Yeah, it doesn't even feel like it's been a year.
A lot of videos, a lot of lives, making a lot of friendships, entertaining a lot of people at the house, getting to build this with you. You never would have thought that. I don't know. I was just kind of going through some of the stats that we started this like a year ago, and we've gotten lucky enough, or we put in enough work. We've got like 3,100 subscribers, which absolutely blows our mind. Facebook followers up to 5,000. Our Patreon members, we certainly appreciate you guys. That extra support helps run the channel and, pay subscription fees for stuff like StreamYard and the internet. So that's certainly cool. All of our subscribers, man, that's absolutely awesome. Man, the love and support. You believe that? Like,
it's craziness. Absolutely.
Yeah, just the endless private messages or comments of everybody just supporting us or wanting to come hang out with us. It literally blows our mind. And now people that are repping our merch. Kat's got on our base.
You can't read yours.
I got our holiday. I'm repping a new holiday. Happy holidays. I mean, for that ugly Christmas sweater, and because we can't afford a real commercial, we got to take this chance to rep our gear.
I mean, I'm double duty, and I got the T-shirt on under me.
Yeah, so Kat repping the base brings us together. So certainly this is stuff that her and I come up with together. These are the things that we lay around in dark. We have a lot of fun in the bedroom at night talking about what kind of merch we're going to be dropping. So it's been a lot of laughs. It's frustrating learning new technology and stuff like that. Certainly,
you've definitely had your moments of frustration.
Yeah, where I want to throw the computer out the window because I'm the kind of person, if I don't understand something, it frustrates me. But just thanks for coming on this journey with us, guys. We're having a lot of fun, and I see the chats blowing up. We'll certainly get to all of those. So between we can't forget our sponsors throughout the year: Able Sewer Company, South Shore Plumbing. If you see my stage left, you can point up to it, right up there. Clarity Creations, they're one of our premium sponsors. We're still learning. We don't know what to do with anything, so just a year, and we're still newbies. But Clarity Creations has certainly shown us a lot of support these last couple of months. We appreciate that. So, but I would say that there's one single person that we need to thank the most. I don't know, what's his name? Billy?
Bob.
Oh, was it Billy Bob? Was it Billy Bob? But no, so there was this one guy that came and hung out with us for a few days during one of our large events. A lot of you guys know him as well. Youthman Michael Stevens certainly pushed us over the edge. He came to one of our events, hung out with us for a week, and he's like, man, you guys need to go public with this. This is a lot of not only good entertainment, but just a lot of good energy for the community. So certainly without further ado, this is, we got to bring Michael in here, the man, the myth, the legend.
Everybody knows Michael.
Everybody knows Michael.
Everybody.
Top janitor of the year, 3 years in a row. Man. Michael Stevens, what's up, man?
What's happening, guys? I am so pumped to be here, man. I hate that I didn't even want you to postpone it. I said, we've got a hurricane going on. We have no power. Do your thing. This was pre-scheduled a couple weeks ago. And you're like, no, absolutely not. We're not going to do this if you're not there. And I am grateful for that. I'm grateful that I've had like this much influence in helping you guys get started with your podcast. All I was a spark, and then you just took over from there. And I could not be more proud of both of you, man. Y'all have put in the work. You've got, like you said, you've got great energy. You've got great chemistry with both of you. You've got a great community. You got huge passion for music and home theater, everything that I love. And you've got a way of bringing people together. And I just love what you stand for. And so I'm here.
He has a way of bringing people's silly sides out too.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. But here's the thing. I think sometimes we forget that this is fun. You know what I mean? we can get caught up in specs, we can get caught up in the gear, we can get caught up in a lot of things, but the thing that matters to me the most is the relationships. Like what we're doing right here, hanging out backstage, coming to your home, coming to Base Brings Us Together event. That's what this whole thing is about, bringing people together. And so what you stand for with your channel is just, I'm here for it, man. I'll support you guys any way that I possibly can. I appreciate it.
When me and you were messaging and we were checking in on you and you're like, oh, just go on without me. It's your 1 year. I told Kat, I said, there's no way. We're not doing without that, dude. Yeah, for sure. We would have never started this, and it's funny because, Jordan was just in town and me and him were talking behind the scenes, and just like when you stayed with us, to the community, the stuff that goes on behind the scenes, it's really it's some crazy, but it's some magical stuff. I mean, me and you were down in the theater at 3 a.m. talking. Correct. And the system was off. We're just talking about our life, about our families, about our futures, and that really, brought a lot out of us. And we're like, because we didn't think anybody was going to be interested in this. Now we got lists long of people that want to come by and hang out.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Kat's still blowing away. Like, she's like, people are messaging us all the time because they want to come over here and hang out with us. Like I don't know. It's very surreal.
It is completely surreal. So I've been in this 7 years, and as my channel continues to grow, funny story. So Jessica and I were talking just the other day, like last week, and she made just a kind of a silly comment, and I don't know what it was in reference to, but she said, yeah, you're famous. And, we kept on doing our business. And then we went out together and we were in just some kind of, we're doing some shopping for her. She was picking up a new outfit, and we walk in this lady's store. And I look up and I see this guy, and we make eye contact. And I look back down and we're doing our thing. I look back over and he's looking at me, and I'm like, wait, is that Derek? Like a friend of mine. I'm like, nah, that's not Derek. And then I do my thing, and I bet probably 30 seconds later, he comes over, he goes, is this you? He shows me my channel. I about died. I'm like, oh my gosh. So he lives like 20 minutes from me, and he's been watching my channel for a while, and we had a conversation, and it was just cool, man. So those things are pretty, I don't know. It's humbling, to be honest with you.
I'm kind of waiting for the day we're out and somebody's like, you're Sky Newbie, because he's he's already so.
They're gonna be on Temptation Island and be like, that's you. He's here. I've been coming everywhere waiting.
Few instances where we've seen like pictures of other people at audio events or whatever, and we see our shirts in the background. That's very I'm just like that. That's crazy to just I don't know. I don't know, man.
Thanks,
it's
Mark.
Unbelievable.
That's awesome, man. Good to see you, brother. But yeah, it's one of those things where, it's all about the community. I mean, we've got Symphonics Audio in here. He does an incredible job on his channel. Chris, My Home Theater, he's in the chat. It's all about the community, supporting each other, loving on each other, encouraging each other. There's enough drama out in the world. Let's create something really, truly special in our space. Make it safe, make it welcoming to everybody, and let's just have some fun in the process.
There's so many people in this hobby, but even we just had a big get together last weekend when Jordan was in town, like a meet and greet with him, and people are just like, they're still blown away that people are hosting events, and they're like, so everybody here has a home theater. The one guy's like, I've met more people tonight than I have the last 5 years that I've been in this hobby that get into this kind of stuff. Yeah. Well, just like, when you were throwing your events, how many people haven't experienced Dolby Atmos? And like, it's, I strongly urge people to start Facebook groups for your town or your state. Something you may have to drive a couple of hours, but man, it's certainly worth it. It's so,
I had a gentleman come by yesterday, posted the video today, and he had never experienced Dolby Atmos that was the previous video. A family, they had never experienced Dolby Atmos before.
I watched that video.
I was like, it just blows my mind that there are a lot of people that don't get that experience. And, there are a lot of people that have never experienced that really deep, gut wrenching bass, sub 20 single digits. and they come to your home and they're like, holy cow, like I've never experienced anything like this.
I still can't get over Steve's screen.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's what is it? 20 feet wide, 17 feet
Eight-
wide?
eight- it's like 18 feet wide by,
Oh.
I don't know, 10 feet tall or 11 feet tall or something. Yeah, I still can't get over that.
So when I went to film his home theater tour, YouTube, I think YouTube Shorts was really, really new. And I'm like, let me try this kind of, shorts thing, see what it's about. So I didn't know what I was doing, but I'm like, hey guys, we just bought a new home. We got this cool home theater. I flip it around. I'm like, it's 17 feet wide. And I'm like, I'm just kidding. No, this is Steve's and we're going to do a tour on it. Dude, that video, it didn't blow up, but it was like, I mean, it went crazy for my little channel. I'm like, man, this is wild. But yeah, to have that type of, I'd never seen a home theater that large in like somebody's house, and he's such a cool dude too.
Oh, yeah.
He's got to take
such a great host.
Yeah, I'm taking Kat up there to check it out. That's
nice.
That's the kind of theater when you go home, you just board yours up and don't even go back in it.
It's interesting. I've probably filmed, I think, over 100 home theater tours in the past 7 years. And I've never once went to somebody's house and came home and was like, you know what, my system sucks. Did theirs sound better? Sometimes they were, but I never came home and went, man, mine's garbage. The cool thing is we should be able to be at a point in in ourselves that we can appreciate somebody else's setup. If somebody drives a Mercedes or a Lamborghini or a Ferrari, I don't get mad at them. I'm happy for them. I'd like to own one of those one day, and I may. But the same thing is in home theater. It's easy for us to be on the other end watching, one of Jordan's videos and see somebody's got a bigger or better or nicer home theater. And it's easy just to look inward and go, oh man, I'm kind of stinks that I don't have that. Man, enjoy what you have. Enjoy.
We were looking at a house. I said, we're looking for a new house. Nice. That's what I came home and said.
Stop. There you go. Nothing wrong with that.
I say, hey, I think it's cool that I want it. Let's get it. So, so there's a lot of big things obviously going on in all of our lives. I know some people are hanging out here too because they were interested in me dropping the date for the Base Brings Us Together 5th annual.
Oh yeah.
So now we gotta be very delicate with how we word this so everybody don't get mad. But so Kat and I've talked with Michael, I've talked with Mark Seaton, I've talked with Jeff Permanian, just of possible dates that would work. And so we are going with May 3rd, Saturday, May 3rd, 2025.
Scott's birthday.
That'll be my 41st birthday also.
Really?
Yeah.
Awesome.
So
he got me. He texted me. He's like, okay, we're going to do it on the 3rd. I was like, that's your birthday. He's like, oh man, like he didn't know.
Yeah.
He's like, this is the only way I can get a bunch of presents.
Yeah.
So for everybody that's listening, me and Kat, I was going to knock it down to 60 people. Kat convinced me to keep it at 70.
I say let's go bigger.
Kat's talking about doing 80.
She wants 100.
Yeah. So, for the people that are like, oh, is she really into this? I mean, was trying to bump these numbers up. Yeah, but I mean, we did 70. We did 70 last year, and it was a very busy day. Yeah. Everybody had a good time, but it was very, very busy. If you would like to attend this event, it's very specific on how this is going to go. You have to private message me, and I will send you the details and send you the link for the private Facebook group for you to join. And it'll only be the people coming to that event. As of right now, we're going to open up 50 slots to the general enthusiast public, just because the other 20 are kind of spoken for. Like we got Michael, Kat, myself, Jeff Permanian, JTR Speakers, the president and owner. He makes it to most of my big events. He does run a business and has a family, so obviously anything can happen. Same thing with Mark Seaton from Seaton Sound. Runs a business, has a family. Also, Tony from JTR will be here. Mark Giovanetti, close friend of ours. So there's like a core group of 20 that's going to take up that 70, but the other 50 spots are 100% available. So right now that's open. You can hit me up Just give me your name and your number and just say, I would like to attend this event. Because I assume it'll probably fill the capacity by the end of the weekend. Usually we fill up within the first couple of days. I just seen Chris Chavez put that he's planning on being here as well too. So certainly shoot me a direct message on Facebook, Chris, and I'll get you down and send you the invite. I'm going to build the group over the weekend. Mike's going to fly in. And I just want everybody to understand, with Seaton and Jeff and Michael here, this isn't like a sales event. These guys all just because you got to realize at the end of the day, even though Michael's running his own audio business out, enthusiast at heart.
What a steal,
Jeff for me.
Cat's like, we are definitely increasing the numbers this year.
The numbers just went up.
Dude, we're getting 150 if we can.
But like Jeff and Mark Seaton, all those guys are just huge enthusiasts at heart. So they come and just want to experience it with every. Yeah. It's all, we got food trucks that come during the day, make everybody
That's
lunch.
why I'm here. I want the food truck.
Hey, don't let her fool you, because this girl puts in a lot of work, man, to make this stuff happen. She helps with the shirt design. She helps with the production, post production.
She does the waivers. I mean,
and the important job, the name tags and the waivers.
Name tags. No, Kat, you're a great hostess. You really, really are. I mean, Kat makes everybody just feel welcome. And
she was telling me the other day, she goes, I don't feel like that big a part of everything. I was like, you just don't, just because you don't have the screen time, that doesn't, dude, I'd be lost without her, for sure. I would just have a bunch of 50 drunk guys over here destroying the house. And I
have 49 drunk guys.
Yeah, really, I bring the muscle and keep all the guys.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
But Michael, you have to, dude, our schedule was crazy last year. Dude, I picked you up at like 1 a.m. and I had to have you back at the airport at like 4 a.m. Yeah. You got to schedule an extra 45 minutes on both ends of that.
That was what was going on that
your daughter's graduation party.
It was Mother's Day.
And then Mother's Day.
This guy planned it on Mother's Day weekend.
Yeah, that was not wise, man.
Hey, dude, when I talked to you about that date, you didn't bring it up. You're the
Nobody knew. All you guys forgot about us mothers.
I'm not thinking 6 months out, man. So that was rough. Yeah, so I had one daughter's graduation party, which I had to attend. Yeah. So then I jumped on a flight like late that night. You picked me up at airport super early. I'm like, no, Scott, I'll just Uber to your house. And you're like, I'm picking you up, bro.
There's no such thing.
I appreciate that. That was awesome.
Yeah, there's team no sleep over here, brother. You know that.
Yeah. But it's cool, man. I think you can do anything for a short period of time.
Oh yeah.
3 days. We
and for the people wondering, like, man, they're making these plans 6 months in advance. I don't think. Yeah. If you haven't come to one of these events, you're literally going to meet people from 15 different states.
Yeah.
Last weekend we had people from Canada here. We've had people from India fly in here. And then, like our last big event, Florida, Wisconsin, Michigan, Indiana, Iowa, Tennessee, Pennsylvania, Ohio.
So people got to plan like
Texas, multiple people. So people, they plan, and it just, I don't know, it blows our mind because literally people will message us, be like, I'm going to put in for time off work. Yeah. I'm going to get a plane ticket. I'm going to rent a room.
That's crazy.
Crazy. Yeah. And people still message us to this day, be like, dude, that was the best event I've ever been to. Like, I don't, it's so much of hanging out with the enthusiasts, but I mean, to like shake hands, like Jeff and Mark are OGs in the game, like especially in the Subwoofer game, those guys started a lot of that stuff that the companies are doing now. They were the first. Some of the first, there's Danley and a couple other guys too. And then of course, you got a huge following. So to shake hands and break bread with you too, it is a very humbling.
It's just a really cool experience. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, yes, we do some awesome demos and home theater music. But like I said, there are times that we got done and we could play pool, so it's about hanging out, building relationships.
For sure.
And those friendships, I mean, that's why I come. I come because I want to support you guys. I want to hang out with people. Where can you go to experience that on that level of insanity? But then also that amount of people just that are as passionate and obsessed as you are for a weekend, a couple days.
Yeah.
I don't know if our chat froze up or not. Is the last chat on yours, My Home Theater?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
I'll just say hi, see if it pops in there.
Okay, yeah, because the last live we went on, like I missed everybody. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
okay, there you are.
Yep,
It popped
we're good.
up.
You
Yeah,
just
the
have
last one was
to
my
go
home
around
theater.
and
Said,
stuff.
Scott, you got it going on in more ways than you know.
So if we have a big group of people, I mean, do you think it'd be smart if I made the move from 1818s to 2018s?
Stop.
I don't know, man. I
Stop.
think you're all right, man.
Yeah,
I think
he's
you're all
fine.
right,
I got the room for it. I've been eyeing it.
man.
You know. So you got Michael. What was, dude? Some of those videos for the hurricane where there was that dude like up to his knees or almost up to his waist.
Yeah.
Is that the worst storm you've ever encountered living in Florida?
Yeah. So I was born and raised in Florida, native Floridian. I've only lived outside of Florida for 4 years. We moved when I first finished up with Bible college, came back to my hometown in Plant City. Bible college was only like an hour and a half away. Came back. I was a student pastor for 4 years part time. And then I took a position full time in Alabama. So we were gone for 4 years. But other than that, I'm 49 right now. So 4 years out of 49, I was out of state. And then the rest have been here. We've seen some big storms. 1 year when we were up there, I don't remember what storm it was. That was maybe Hurricane Andrew, maybe. That was really, really bad, but it happened like south of us down in Miami. Really, really huge devastation. But this definitely was the biggest storm that I personally have ever remembered. Fortunately, where we are at and where we live in this community, we don't really have any risk of flooding. The other big thing that just blows my mind is there are so many big oak trees. We've got a lot of oak trees in Florida. And so fortunately in our neighborhood, we have palm trees. So we had one palm tree, I think, in the neighborhood snap in half. But you go outside of our neighborhood and go like 2 blocks, and there's just this massive, huge oak that's just laying down on the ground. And of course, they've just been cutting these things up. And, within the first week after the storm, they would cut them up and just push them off to the side. So like all over Plant City are just these massive piles of tree and tree stumps and tree limbs. And it's going to take, golly, I'm guessing it'll probably be the first of the year before they get all of that stuff picked up. They're still doing that. In Tampa, there's tons of trash because the last storm that came through, Helene, just a few weeks before that, especially in, over near the coast, a lot of that water came into people's homes. Of course, they've got all of this furniture that's got to go. It's got sewage in it. It's got, just nastiness. And so they put all that stuff by the road. And so then you got a second tornado, or not tornado, but second hurricane that came through. And now it's taken all that junk and slinging it everywhere, So it was definitely a huge mess, but we are so grateful we didn't have any shingles. That we just put a new roof on ours probably last year, maybe 2 years ago, because we've been here about 18 years. And we had a couple storms come through, and so we had to pay to put a new roof on. But we're grateful, man. We didn't have any damage here, but there's a lot of folks around here, even in my city, Plant City. We went through my mother-in-law's neighborhood, and that was the video. I was up to probably about my knees, a little bit higher than my knees. My son's best friend, who was his best man in his wedding, he sent me a picture in his neighborhood, and he was up to his chest.
Wow.
So it was, and he lived in a mobile home like community. And so the water came up to the bottom of his mobile home. It didn't go in the house, but everything underneath it had to be replaced. All the ductwork and some of that understructure they had to repair and replace. But yeah, man, it's rough for a lot of people. So, and a lot of people are still dealing with that.
Yeah, we were seeing like, man, it was just dropping like tornadoes like crazy and stuff too. Like it was literally like, it was like a scary movie kind of, like a, Mother Nature, wreaks havoc kind of thing.
So you guys were without power for a week?
We were without power for, I think, 4 days, maybe 4 or 5 days. I'd never lost power. Kind of interesting too. 2 years ago, we had another storm coming through, and I was getting ready for Cedia, and the storm was coming. And the good thing with hurricanes, they're like a week-long process. I mean, you know when they're coming. It's not like a surprise, and so you have time to prepare. I didn't think anything of it, but I told Jessica, I said, "Man, we got this storm coming. Should I stay here? Because this is big. This thing's about as big as Florida. It's huge." And she said, "Heck no! All these brands have paid you to film their booth. They've already, the money's in the bank. I don't want to give it back to them." She said, "Go."
Yeah.
But she convinced me to leave a day early. And had I not, the airport closed that next day. And so I wouldn't have even made it to Cedia. So that would have been wild. Like, can I do that next year for you, or do I got to pay?
Give me an IOU.
Because I filmed like 13 or 14 videos. They were all sponsored videos at Cedia. So that would have been rough. But fortunately I got out and she was safe, but she was without power, I think that year, basically 5 days. And when I came, literally the day I'm coming back, power comes on.
Yeah.
I was like, I'd never experienced no power with a storm. And, but it was wild. But yeah, we're grateful, man. Could have been a whole lot worse.
Showers.
Yeah.
Cold showers. Yeah, I can't imagine being without power for that long.
Yeah.
We haven't had the experience.
I guess the good thing is we at least had running water. If we didn't have running water, that would be would have made it really, really, really difficult. It wasn't horribly bad. And the other thing is it was actually decently cool at night. So we'd leave all the windows open. We've got, what do you call it? Like screens, in each window to keep the bugs out, but that would let some air in, and it was decent. It was like at 70. So that was perfect. But, had it have been any other time, it could be like 85 degrees at night. And that would have really been, terrible. You'd just be like drenched in sweat.
It looks like we got a question for one of the owners of Obsessed Home Theater. Good thing we have him on with us.
Yeah, that's cool.
But this is actually a very, very good question for you, Michael. Yeah. Now, I used to own the PB16s, and I've experienced multiple RS1s. I mean, we practically have 4 of them in our living room.
Yeah.
So, I hate to pronounce his
name.
Roll.
Hello,
Youthman. Wish I still lived in Chicago to check out Scott's Insane Theater. Now I'm wanting to save and get an RS1 Captivator, maybe 2. RS1 versus PB16 Ultra. Who wins?
Yeah.
Thanks, y'all, the Bears. So what is you've had obviously hands-on with these because you have RS2s, which are what's your thoughts on that, Michael?
Yeah, great question. Appreciate that question, Roll. I have gone through a number of subwoofers over the years. Prior to my JTR Captivator RS2s, I had 4 Klipsch RSW15s. They would extend down to about 20 hertz, but then they drop like a rock. I reached out to SVS at the time. So this is 7 years ago when I started my channel. Reached out to SVS. I said, "Hey, I've heard great things about your subwoofer. I'd love to experience your PB16s. Well, the short version of that, they sent me some speakers and a center channel. They sent me a pair of the SB16s, the sealed version. And then I asked Nick, I said, "Hey, do I need to send like one of these back and then you send me the PB16?" Because I was wanting to compare those two. He's like, "Dude, if you got enough room in your theater room, I'll just send you the PB16s too." So at one time I had the SVS Ultras, the Ultra Center, the SB, a pair of those 16s, and the PB16. So it was wall-to-wall speakers and subwoofers.
Sounds like a good time.
It was phenomenal. Had a great time. What I found out is those 2 PB16s performed as well as my 4 Klipsch RSW15s. And they dug deeper and they were newer. They looked nicer and they had an app. So there was a lot of reasons why I wanted to upgrade to those. So I sold my 4 RSW15s, bought the PB16s, rocked those for a while, loved those. Very, very tactile bass, especially for my little 13 by 19 foot room. And then I had people in my comments saying, "Hey, Michael, if you like SVS, you got to check out JTR." And 7 years ago, I was like, "Who is JTR? Never heard of them." And I've been in this business since Dolby Pro Logic days. I've been here a long time, and I just never heard of this brand. And so I reached out to Jeff. He's the owner, Jeff Permanian. And I think I reached out to him maybe on email. Didn't hear back from him. So I reached out to him on Facebook. Didn't hear back from him. So every once in a while, I'd send him a note or email. I tried Instagram. Nothing was working. So I didn't think anything of it. About a year later, he makes a post on Facebook and says, "Hey, I'm going to be at Axpona. Here's this massive system." And I was like, holy cow, like that's a legit system. And so I messaged him on there, just commented, and I said, "Hey, Jeff, that system looks awesome. I'd love to hear your subwoofers." And he's like, "Well, of course I'd love to send you my subwoofers." I'm like, "Dude, I've been trying to get contact with you for a
all you have to do
year."
is ask.
Like, what the
Just
heck? That was pretty funny. So he sent me a pair of the RS2s. So that is the dual 18s. Roll, you're looking at the single 18. It's got a 4,000 watt continuous amplifier, and the RSW1 or RS1 has a 2,400 watt amplifier. So I got those in my theater room, installed those behind my screen, and I was like, oh my gosh. I had never experienced single digits. The PB16s, they'll go down to about like 17 hertz, maybe 15 hertz, somewhere around that range, and then they start dropping off pretty quick. At one time, I measured the RS2s down to 5 hertz in my room, like with good output. We're not talking about like 20 dB down. There's good output. And I was like, I had never experienced anything like that. There was so much output, super clean. They were sealed, so that didn't have to worry about port noise that some subwoofers have. Fell in love with them, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So the RS1s are the same thing as the RS2s. You just have a little bit less output. I don't remember the exact number. I think Tony had told me it's either 3 dB or 6 dB, because you've got.
We got double the drivers and double the power.
Yeah, I'm wanting to say it's 6 dB, right?
Yeah.
Or is that 3?
No,
okay.
Yeah.
So it's about 6 decibels different. But I'm telling you, and as I shared with a video with, actually, if you watch today's video, you'll see I had a conversation with a gentleman along this line, because he was trying to figure out, would RS1s be enough in his room? And I'm like, dude, heck yeah, especially if you're doing 4 of them. And he ended up buying 4 of them from me. He gave me the money right there. He's like, this is after he heard a 36-minute demo in my theater room, he's like, yeah, you convinced me. Like, just, I want this in my house, So
well, it really is a buy once, cry once, because you literally, it's the same thing with like the RTJs in our living room. I tell everybody's blown away by them. I said, well, we'll literally keep these until like the termites eat them, because there's, I mean, you could get something that maybe looks better if you don't care for the look, which obviously Kat and I don't. It doesn't bother us. We like it. You could spend more money on a more expensive piece of furniture, that just happens to have subwoofer drivers in it. But for better performing, my JTR story, and I've told this 100 times, but I had a whole room full of, like Power Sun Audio, and this is no disgrace to them. I'm friends with Tom from Power Sun Audio.
Yeah.
And I was, I was in hog heaven. I had 100 people come over, and we were enjoying ourselves. And I went to Exponent and checked out that system. Yeah. And I came home, and I never turned my system back on again.
Yeah.
Well, I was driving home with my dad, and he goes, because we enjoyed Exponent together. He goes, man, I can only imagine what's going through your mind right now. I said, you already know. And I literally came home, never fired the system up again. Everything went up for sale, and it is what it is, man.
And I did the same thing after I reviewed the RS2s, ended up upgrading, sold mine, got those. I told Jeff, I said, Jeff, I love your subwoofers, but now you got me curious. What do your speakers sound like? And he said, we can make that happen, right? And I'm like, what do you mean we can make that happen? He's like, I'd be willing to fly you up and give you a demo. And that's actually how I met Scott Newby.
You know,
And Kat, you were there at that time too, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
I think that would have been like 4 years ago.
well, me and Kat have been together for 13 years.
Yeah. So
But-
so honestly, I've slept since then, so I don't really remember.
Yeah, you
remember-
you know what I think it was is the day that you actually came. Jeff hit me up the night before.
That's right. That's right.
It was like a
Emily
last
Reagan.
second thing,
Mhm.
and I actually
Just
left
kind of
work.
in and out. Yeah.
Yeah, I left work to meet you guys here. Yeah. So she was here, but like
Okay.
there was because you had so much other stuff going on, and you guys just swung by. I think for
we
like
hit
an hour.
we hit 3 places. We hit Tony's, we hit yours, and then we hit Jeff's.
And
I
his
think all
shop.
that-
So really,
yeah.
you guys hit 4 because you hit the.
I did see him, I think.
Okay, you remember seeing
Yeah.
that? Okay.
I think so. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. I don't know, but it was one of those things where once I heard it for myself, I'm like, okay, this is the direction I want to go with my theater room. And it took me, golly, it was another 4 years, I think, before, I began to slowly make those upgrades, just like you guys do in the chat. We can't do this over time. I mean, over like at one time. Scott can't build and add more subwoofers. You've done this for how long has your journey with JTR been?
Just with JTR has been 5 years.
5 years,
And I'm still waiting on Atmos speakers, which I'm hoping to finalize that at the beginning of next year, and then of course another subwoofer.
Yeah. Yeah, you see how he slid that in there? He's always trying to get one.
I swear they're like one thing comes and then there's already another order in for the next thing.
Well, because there's like a 3-month lead time, so that you just got to do it strategically.
Yeah, I get it, man. Yeah. Yeah, Paul says, I thought about RS1s as I saw Audioholic's review and saw the results you guys got with the bigger units. They're just crazy expensive outside the U.S. They're crazy expensive inside the U.S.
Yeah.
But the reality is, you're right. The shipping overseas makes it, a lot more expensive as well. So that definitely adds to the cost.
But the cost, obviously, you'll never hear me say that $5,000 isn't a lot of money. I mean, it just at the end of the day, it's a lot of money.
Yeah. Yep.
But even with like the RTJs, which they were fairly expensive, but it literally to hear Kat come home and be like, dude, I heard this song in my Jeep today. We have to listen to it on RTJs. I bet it sounds amazing. Yeah. I mean, to get and she's a huge music avid listener, and you're really starting to appreciate good sound. And I just gave her a demo, because I got the demo reels all done. Mm-hmm. I sat her down. She said, because my whole demo reel is 30 minutes long. Right. And she sat through the whole thing last night. She's like, I hear stuff. She was like freaking out. She's like, this is cool.
I've heard everybody talking about this Atmos for so long, but before I'd never understood exactly what that was. I was just like, it just kind of thrown it with everybody's mix, but he added these special clips to his demos. And I finally it was like circulating around the room. I was like, that is very neat.
Yeah.
And anybody who comes
music
here,
or was that movies?
They're demo clips.
Like I have demo clips of movies, but that was from an actual Atmos disc that we cut into it.
Okay, so like it was okay, but I didn't know if it was like Dolby Atmos, like spatial audio music or something. Okay.
No, it was just like their graphics and where it just kind of flies across the room and like the close encounter and the rainstorms and all that stuff.
Yeah, I never experienced that before. I was like, holy moly, now I get now I understand what that is. It was just words to me before.
Yeah.
And she even said something to me tonight. She's like, wow, the people that are going to come over and get to experience that's crazy.
Yeah.
They're going to want to get it. That's what I said. I said, once people hear that demo and maybe, they're going to want it because it sounded really cool.
Now, she's been in this theater room 1,000 times, watched 1,000 movies with me, said she's still getting excited. It's so weird that I told Kat, I said, so many people are like, man, you got a woman that gets into this. It isn't, she's not a diehard fan. Like she's like, look at the specs on these speakers, but
she's not appalled by it.
Yeah, she's not appalled by it.
She's curious, but maybe she's not fascinated by it. How about that? Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair.
I think she's very taken aback about how much interest there is. Like that's absolutely mind blowing to her. Because we'll lay down in bed and like literally, there'll just be 50 messages in my inbox. I was sending her stuff yesterday. Guys are like, hey, my AVR died. What should I buy? Hey, I need a calibrator. Who should I use? Mm-hmm. And she's like, dude, she's like, what is going on?
He's on his phone I mean, I thought it was bad just for, helping run Able, but now
Right.
it's like that phone does not leave his hand. He's always answering somebody's questions.
Because this is how I feel, Michael. So, you're obviously a huge person in this space, and we're smaller in this space. But like, if I was to message you and then you don't write me back, I'd be like, oh, that sucks that dude won't acknowledge me.
Correct.
So it's like I have this thing in me that I try to respond as long as it's a decent comment.
Correct.
I try to respond to every single person because I'm like, I'm no better than anybody else. So I've been in front of a camera a little bit more, but like if you got a question, dude, I can respond to you.
I did that probably. I literally responded to probably almost every single comment. I'm guessing up until, I don't know, like 30,000 subscribers, maybe 50, maybe.
It seems like it would get hard to be like, okay, I'm one guy.
Yeah, honestly, after you get to about that point somewhere in there, I don't remember where it was, it begins to get overwhelming, to be honest with you, because think about this. You have your comments. So we have an app on our phones and on the computer. I use it on my phone called YouTube Studio, and there's a notification. So I can open the app, click on the notification, and I can see in the order that they've come in. So newest to oldest. And I can click on it, read it. I can reply right there, or I can ignore it or whatever, or I can just heart it or thumb it up, to let you know I at least read it. At this point, even just that is overwhelming. I mean, there are hundreds of comments every single day. I don't know how many, but hundreds of comments every single day. So you can't physically, if I answered every comment, I would do nothing. I wouldn't get any videos made for you guys. It would just be answering comments.
Well, I put a post up just 2 days ago, and it's got like 430 comments, and so I told Kat, she's like, "Did you give up?" I was like, "I just."
It's hard.
Yeah,
it really is.
I felt bad, and I was like,
"What I try to do on my channel is at least let you know that I read it, heart it, like it." And that way you say, oh, well, at least Youthman saw it. But even then, I'll be honest with you, I don't see every one of them. Like there's so many of them. There's no physical way. Again, I would spend all my time even just liking and hearting comments. But you will always, I don't care if I have 1 million subscribers, you will always see me active in my community. Always. Now, I won't, at that point, I absolutely won't be able to answer 1,300 comments or 5,000 comments on a video, but you'll see me in there. You'll see my name. You'll see me. It won't be a bot. It won't be, somebody that I've hired to do my social media and managing that. It'll be me. But at some point you just I get that, Siphonic says earn enough money to pay moderators. I could pay a moderator, but the reality is,
they want to connect. They want to feel like they're connecting with you, and you want the same thing, vice versa.
Well, just like Kat, she said, I would respond to these people. She's like, but they want to talk to you.
Yeah.
She goes, I wouldn't know what to tell the guy anyway if his AVR died. She's like, it's like I don't.
Sorry, bro.
That sucks. Thumbs up.
Yeah, but I do my best to now. I can tell you this right here. This is so you get comments. On top of that, you get, we're on Facebook. So people hit us up on Facebook Messenger. So now you've got those are questions, comments, whatever. Then you got Instagram. People are hitting you up in the DMs on that. Then my email's public on the YouTube channel. You can go to my about page and you can click on my email and send me an email. So I get those too. And so it is just like, it's wild.
Well, now you're going to have your obsessed theater email too. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's overwhelming, but it's a good thing, but
of course. I just feel guilty. Like, man, as I'm laying in bed, as my eyes are closed, I'm like, I can reply to just one more, just one more.
It's funny though. So I love my job. I love what I get to do. I get to chase my passion. I get to chase my obsession. I get to talk about home theater, which I've done since I was, back in the days of Sound Advice and Circuit City and Best Buy, when those first kind of popped up. And, but it's funny because Jessica would come home. There was one time where she took a 6-month leave of absence from school. She's a school teacher. And she said, Michael, I just need a break. This was at COVID time, like right after COVID. And so she's teaching second graders and she's having to do it remotely. So she's having to teach second graders how to log in on a computer, but they're at home, so it was a train wreck. So demanding mentally, plus just the emotion of going through COVID. That was just crazy. And she said, Michael, I've never taken a leave of absence for even maternity. We've had 4 children, never once took a maternity leave. I'd like to take 6 months off. And I said, babe, do it, go for it. But I told her, I said, look, I got one request. You absolutely cannot critique like the way that I conduct myself, if that even makes sense. And I'll explain what I mean by that. You can't complain about my schedule. You can't complain about, and so here's the picture. Here's where I'm going with that. So there've been lots of times where I'm just, I'm kicked back. I got my feet propped up on this desk and I'm on my phone, and it looks like, oh man, he's playing video games. No, I'm literally replying to 100 comments, on a video that I just posted, or I'm replying to emails. And so it just comes with the territory. But if the ones that are hard to answer is the ones that go like this. Hey, Youthman, I love your channel. Got a question. And then it's a novel, so those are almost like I'm pretty much guaranteed not to be able to help you, because I know that's just going to consume a ton of my time. If it's something quick, short, sometimes I can point you to a video. You're asking like, hey, how do I, you got a question about Odyssey. Well, guess what? I got a video on Odyssey. Boom. And I don't do that because I'm lazy. It's because I get that question over and over and over and over and over. So eventually I just make a video on it. And then now I can refer people to the video. So you've got like a 20-minute or 30-minute tutorial versus me having to type it out over and over and over and over.
That's exactly what I'm doing. I'm putting out a video tomorrow.
Yeah.
For Chase the Base, my race to 160. Just because I got 400 comments on that.
Yeah.
And I just want to answer all the questions because it's all the same questions that I get all the time.
Yeah.
And I think people are very entertained or very curious about somebody going after 160 dB in their home theater. So yeah.
Are you really trying to do that? I thought you were joking.
No, I'm.
Oh,
yeah. No.
I never know what to take serious or not.
Yep.
Yeah. So
yeah,
I got to try to do it without destroying the house. I mean, because last time you were here, we're at 150. Now I can hit a 156. And 160 would be twice as loud as the last time you were here.
Man, that's nuts. Yeah, it's.
For everybody that's new that has joined here in the last half hour or so, I did release the date, May 3rd, Saturday, my birthday. 5th annual Base Brings Us Together. Youthman in the house. Jeff Permanian from JTR. Mark Seaton from Seaton Sound. Beautiful cat. Tony from JTR. Mark Giovanetti. And our core group of guys. And then we're also welcoming 50 other people for a total of 70 people. If you want to be part of that event, you have to private message me. Get confirmation from me, and I will send you the invite. I'll start going through that. That's what I'll be doing this weekend, is creating that group. Just looking forward to hanging out with all you guys. So I just wanted to drop that in here.
He'll probably be in bed after this for a while, going through emails. Like, okay, I think we got. What did I hit?
What are you doing?
I don't know. I hit the wrong one.
Oh no, but Best Buy Phonics Audio, you're absolutely correct. That was kind of my plan. Is it's 3 concrete walls, 1 double drywalled wall, and then. Not the best ceiling setup with some acoustic tiles. With talking with Jeff from JTR and Mark Seaton from Seaton Sound, I'm going to Baltic birch the ceiling, really strengthen up the room, and add 1 more sub, and then maybe we'll be at the 160.
Wow.
But I just want everybody to know that I'm not at no point going to get so many subwoofers that it blocks other speakers and disrupts the atmosphere. Because the theater experience is certainly first.
Absolutely. Yep.
Hitting the number is not nearly as important as the 99% of the time that we just want to enjoy a movie. So I'm not taking out no surround speakers. Everybody's like, you have a lot of room, but I'm not. The speakers are where they're supposed to be. I'm not moving them. So
Yeah.
So we'll see. And I'm sure I'll get plenty of comments about how stupid I am. That's a whole nother podcast in itself. That'll just be titled "I'm Stupid. Come join me." So, Michael, I just got done hanging out with Haterade Cowboy for 4 straight days, all day and all night.
Oh my God, these guys went and went and went and went and went.
So 4 days straight, literally. Every night I got home, the girls were sleeping. Everybody's snoring. Yeah. I leave, they're all still sleeping.
Yep.
So I didn't even see these guys for 4 days, pretty much.
Right. Yep.
And we did 7 videos. You did 13.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah, the first home.
How much caffeine were you drinking?
Yeah, so the first full home theater tour. This was actually Tony. It was his idea. He said, "Hey, Michael, if you enjoyed the 3 tours, his home, your home, and Jeff's home," he's like, "We've got a group of guys that we do home theater crawls once a month, and I'd be willing to organize that for you if you want to come back up and fly up again." And I'll chauffeur you. I'll take you around. You can stay at my home. And I said, sure, sounds like a fun time. So he messaged everybody in the group, said, hey, Youthman's willing to come up on such and such date. Who would be interested? Well, I'm interested. And he said, okay, we're up to about 4. So, that'll be 1 day. Okay, now we're up to 6. All right, you're going to need to stay 2 days. There's 8. There's 10. And so we did, I think ended up being 12 home theater tours in 3 days. So we were doing 4 home theater tours a day. And then one of them we had 3. And so we would get up at 6, somewhere between 5 and 6 a.m. I think we left at 6 a.m. So we'd get up like 5:30 a.m., grab like a little breakfast bar, hit the door at 6 a.m. And because I saw some of your videos, some of these homes aren't super close. You may have to drive an hour or 2 hours. And so that's there and back. So we would drive to the first one. I'd get a little demo, maybe, 20, 30 minutes, and then bust out the camera and I'd just start filming. And at that time it was, hey guys, I'm not here at my home theater. We're at Scott and Kat's home theater. Scott, tell me what you have in your home theater. And I would get then behind the camera and I was on like a little gimbal and I would Scott's talking to himself. Like I'm not saying anything. I only had one microphone. So that was on Scott and I would just film him. And so then after he finished talking and we do the tour of the room, then I would get in front of the camera. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed the video. God bless. Take care. So after the car drive away, after about the first day, we were toast because that was 6 a.m. We didn't get in till about 1 a.m. And then like you're saying, and then we turn around and get up at 5:30 the next morning and do it all over again. So these are all day events. And so by day 2, it would be, hey guys, I'm not at my home theater. We're at Mark Giovanni's home theater or whoever it was. And Mark, tell us what you got in your home theater. I'd get behind the camera. And by the end of the video, I'm like, hey, Mark, just go ahead and close us out. And I'd be like, yeah, guys, thanks so much for checking out my home theater. Hope you really liked it. Y'all have a good day.
Like, subscribe.
I was just exhausted. So I know exactly what Jordan experienced, but I know he had a blast. I know
Jordan looked over at me. He's like, when's the last time we ate? He's like, I'm really hungry, dude. I was like, dude, I couldn't tell you. I don't even remember.
Yeah, and he's such a great guy. If you guys aren't subscribed to Haterade Cowboy, ever since Jordan came out on YouTube and started making content, I was like, I like this guy. He's so positive. He's so kind.
He's a true enthusiast too, for sure.
He's got a great spirit about him. And then I started seeing him at shows. I'm like, here's this new content creator, and he's he's putting himself out there. He's at these CDIAs and different events and Exponent. I'm like, man, this guy's something else. And so to see him hustling, man, he's just loving it. But he's such a great guy. I appreciate him.
He is, really.
He never really been to Chicago before, other than like a layover or something.
Yeah, right.
So he's like, man, there's a few things I want to see. Like I have never seen the Bean or been like close by the Sears Tower or like Lake Michigan. So we finished up well, you did Tom Raymer's house too. You know, he lives right downtown, and he's got that beautiful penthouse.
Yeah.
And it was like 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock. Me and Jordan are out filming the bean. He's checking everything out. We're walking by Lake Michigan at like midnight or 1 a.m. I said, Kat would be so jealous. Ask her last time I took her out walking on the lake at 1 a.m.
Exactly. Yeah. 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 So there's a lot of work that goes into that. And then, of course, you know, he's exhausted. Now he's going to get back and he's got however many videos he filmed. And now he's going to be cranking those out, edit them.
I was like, I couldn't even imagine having to put all that together. Like once you go through all that, you guys are crazy.
Yeah, you guys with that. And I always tease about us being the rusted out El Camino of YouTube. Yeah. And the thing is, I mean, because you know, you're fortunate enough to do this as your job now. But even when you were double testing, I mean, literally every day for work, I'm out of the house by 5:30 a.m. Get home at 5 or 6 by the time you deal with the kids.
Correct.
You know, some of these videos you told me you were editing for 6, 7, 8 hours.
Easily. And the home theater tours are even longer. So those sometimes can be 12 hours. They can be 2 days of like full editing, because there's so much B-roll that goes into that. So to me, doing the A-roll, so that's the talking, you and I, that's easy to me, because all you're doing typically, they're already in order because we filmed them in order probably. And so you drop all of those clips onto your timeline. And all you're doing for the most part, you're just trimming the beginning and trimming the end. And usually those, there's not like a lot of retakes because you're just sharing your story. You're sharing your home theater. And so that first part's easy. I mean, it may take me 30 minutes to edit that. Then I go back to the beginning and I'm like, okay, I'm watching it. And as you mentioned, you know, in my rack, I have this and I love this. Well, instead of just showing you and me talking, I want to show this. And so that's when B-roll gets placed over the top and I'm doing a slow pan or I'm doing a push in or whatever. And of course, you got to get lighting set up for each one of those close-up shots. You got to change your camera settings. And that's one of those things where in the edit, that's what takes a lot of time. Any text overlays or animations, those are all
music inserts, all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there's so sound effects. I mean, there's so many things you can do. That's what takes the vast majority of time to do. And if you want to do it and do it well and want to make it something that's, you know, enjoyable for others to watch, that's just a style of mine that I like. I like including good B-roll, good lighting, good audio. But
well, it's got that like Paramount feel. Like this is a professional video kind of feel to it for sure.
Yeah.
Instead of me getting on, hey, my name's Scott Newby. My radio's real loud. Like and subscribe. See you guys later. So,
and there's nothing wrong with that.
Some people like that too. You know, some people that have very short attention spans.
You know, one thing that I'm starting to do now. So, you know, we started this new business, Obsessed Home Theater, and my business partner, one of my business partners, Matt Mormon, he cranks out, I think, about 11 to 14 videos a week. So some of those are short, some of those are, and he's got a team now. He's got 36 employees. And so he's got two videographers. One does just social media, like shorts and Instagram posts and all that. And then he's got a videographer. He's got editors and different things. And he still edits some of his videos. But one thing that he's showing me is that it's okay to not be as polished. Now, there are some certain videos that I'm going to want it to just be like, I want to just spend a ton of time getting the timing and all of that. But then there's other times, let's just have a conversation, you know? Don't worry about all the B-roll. Let's just talk about the story. So the video, like I posted today, it's got a little B-roll in it. Like when Chuck mentions his system, like at home, I said, hey, Chuck, can you send me a couple photos of that just so people could see what you're talking about? When you say you've got your Paradigm Founder speakers or your SVS subwoofers up front. And so I would do that. Or when I mentioned my system, then I would do a B-roll of, you know, a pan of my my front sound stage or something like that. But those videos are faster for me to edit because there's not as much of that. So I'm learning to not produce you know what I'm saying? Like every video has to be a production. Another example, I've got a friend of mine. He said it usually takes him about 2 weeks to make a video. And I'm like, 2 weeks? But you watch his videos and they are cinematic. I mean, like this dude like he knows what he's doing, lighting and his B-roll is just phenomenal. And I'm like, man, I couldn't imagine spending 2 weeks on a video. I would never be able to grow my channel like I want to. But you just got to figure out that balance. But so what I'm doing on my channel now, you may notice I'm doing both. I do my polished and kind of more cinematic or professional, whatever looking videos. But then there's going to be some of it where I'm literally going to be grabbing my camera and I'm going to be just vlogging kind of thing. I'm going to just be talking.
I think people appreciate the raw content sometimes.
Yeah. So I'm wanting to do both, incorporate both. And a lot of my audience are saying, man, I really like this new format. It doesn't mean that everything's going to be that way, but this is just a new style that I'm adding to. I'm not replacing. This is just something new that I'm trying and just seeing if people are connecting with it. And a lot of them are. So just having some fun with it, you know, but not having to put as much time into the edit and just focusing on the story, the conversation, the message, and just letting that be the video, let that carry the weight of the video. But yeah.
Well, we're about an hour in, everybody, so we have to pause really quick for a word from our sponsors. Hello, everybody. Would you like to have great merchandise and apparel? Kat is rocking the Base Brings Us Together hoodie. I have the Happy Holla Base. This can all be bought on our Shopify store, and this really helps, keep ramen on the table.
Let's make it real big here too.
Oh yeah, look at this undeniable quality that we're rocking here tonight.
I love it.
Happy Holla Base. I mean, come on, for your next holiday event. And Kat looks adorable in anything she's wearing. So, okay, that was just a quick word from our sponsors. It's a legal thing. I got to throw that in there. Oh yeah.
Okay.
She's going on her union mandated bathroom break.
She had to get permission. She's like, "Can I leave now?"
Yeah, we run a tight ship around here. No bathroom breaks.
That's right.
So, dude, you were hanging out with Don Dunn and Gene the other day. I seen that, and Gene was using your new center channel speaker as a bed. That thing is humongous, man.
It's massive.
You were just enjoying that system right before we got on live. So what?
I was.
What's the experience?
So the cool thing with this, and I'll share it in the review. So I'm wrapping up my time with it. So they initially sent me the Tower 8s. This is the new 1528 series. They sent me the Tower 8s, and at first they got kind of hung up in customs for like a week or two, and then
they're coming. I know they're Arendal, but from what country?
They're in Norway.
Okay.
So Norwegian. So they sent me those. They're a channel sponsor, and so part of just being a channel sponsor is just letting my audience know that they exist. So you'll see some ads on my channel, kind of like what you did just there, just letting you know, hey, they exist, because some people have never heard of them, especially those of us that are in the U.S. and then they're over in Norway. And so I talk about them, I include them in my newsletters, and then I told them, I said, hey, look, as a channel sponsor, I'll just make a bunch of videos for you too, and so if you ever have any new products come out, send them all to me, kind of thing. Well, they took me up on that. They said, well, I'm glad you offered that, because we've got this new series, the 1528. It's going to be a higher end than our 1723. We're discontinuing the 1529. I never had any experience with that one, but that was a more entry level. But they said, we're coming out with this really nice, luxurious, the biggest speakers we've ever made. And so they send me the towers, and it was the day that it arrived was when the hurricane was coming through. I think it was Helene. And so I'm thinking, man, I got to get these things in the house. No, it wasn't Helene, because we lost power. So it would have been, what was the last one? What was his name?
Martin? Was it Martin?
No, not Martin.
What was the last hurricane name?
Oh my goodness, I can't even think.
It's not
anyway, so that last hurricane.
Well, we all did our homework, obviously.
Yeah, let me know in the chat. I live in Florida.
What hurricane did I just experience?
Milton. That's what it was. It's a weird name.
I was close to what I say, Marvin.
So Milton is like literally going to make landfall that night. Wind is blowing like crazy. I'm like, I really need to get these inside. I mean, because if it floods out there in my garage, I don't want to, any damage to the speakers. So I got this little dinky hand cart. And so I go out, I'm like, well, kind of the whole thing I'm talking about earlier. If I'm doing something, might as well just hit record on the camera. So I set my camera up in my, like this hallway right here, right outside that way is my walkway. And then to the right is my garage. So I hit record on the camera and I go over there and open up my, garage. So all you can do is hear it in the background. And I pick that joker up for the first time and you hear me like, golly, because it's 170 something pounds. Like, holy cow. So I'll maneuver it over onto the top of this little portable hand cart. I don't even know if it's going to support that much weight. So I load up and I go and I'll walk around the corner. And as I walk around the corner, I say, hey guys, this is the biggest center channel I've ever reviewed and ever received. And as I turn the corner, dude, the wind just hits the side of that box and it's huge. So it was like a sail and that joker went to tipping. And I went, oh my gosh, I'm about to dump what would that be? Like a $5,400 speaker on the ground, oh my gosh, it was crazy. But they sent me those two. It took about a month for the center channel and the bookshelf speakers to get through customs because they came straight from the factory. They didn't even go to Norway and then come over. They went straight from the factory to me, and they got hung up in customs because what customs was looking at is they were thinking that, I purchased these. And so now they're wanting me to pay the tax and the duties. So I'm getting an invoice from them for like $500. I'm like, holy crap, I ended up paying it. Arendal reimbursed me for that. But it still took like another 3 weeks to get it, like released. Well, Gene, he was supposed to get the bookshelves. They had sent him a separate pair. They got hung up in customs. Mine finally got released and arrived. They shipped his back to Arendal. Like they never even made it through customs. It was just a hot mess. So, Gene's like, man, I'd love to come hear it, the system. I'm like, sure, come on over. And so he's like, can I bring Don Dunn? I'm like, heck yeah. So they came over and again, we're like, all right, we're going to be doing something together. Let's just film it. Let's have some fun. And so Don had asked me, he said, hey, have you ever learned, have you ever been taught how to properly set up a 2-channel system? I'm like, not really. I mean, I know what I do, but never had anybody really teach me that, like a system. And I said, well, let's film you teaching me. Let me learn. And so Gene and him, and, we just had a good time with that. A lot of people were like, man, this is really cool. I'm going to do this on my setup and get that phantom imaging that you're talking about. And so, yeah, but we just had a great time. But I needed their help, literally just lifting that joker up onto my cabinet.
I seen the picture. It was huge.
It looks ridiculous.
I think you're a TikTok or something. Yeah.
It looks absolutely ridiculous. It's so massive. I have an 85-inch TV. I'll see if I can find a picture.
Is that where it's meant to go? This underneath the TV?
I mean, that's where most people are they're either going to put it on. All right. So we have a tall cabinet.
Yeah.
I tried to convince Jessica let's get a short one. And even way before Arendal, for when I review stuff. And she's like, no, I want the big one. I'm like, oh, that means the TV is going to be mounted too high, but whatever. I compromised. Please the wife, man. That's a happy wife, happy life. And so either they'll do it on a cabinet like that or a shorter cabinet, or they make like speaker stands. And so with this one, it's so big, I think you'd need 2 speaker stands, like one for the right side, one for the left side to support that joker. But they don't make one.
It's funny. Siphonics Audio said there's only a few other brands that have bigger centers. It was funny because I had you on FaceTime, me, you, and Jordan are bickering back and forth kind of playfully. Yeah. And Jordan's like, what about this center? You're like, that little baby, and you're looking it up. That one's only 110 pounds.
And I'm like, you're not even close, Jordan. I'm like, this thing's massive.
So you guys just watched the new Ghostbusters. Me and Kat watched that a couple of weeks ago. What'd you guys think?
It was really cool. So I have not had the opportunity to watch a full movie with Arundel, with the whole system. I've done some music. I've done a lot of 2-channel listening with it. Then I added the subwoofer, did some more listening. Then just recently I added the whole, center channel, added the rears, calibrated that. But tonight, Jessica and I were out walking around the block. We try to walk the block every night, and just really to catch up, throughout the day. And she says, "Hey, I saw something on Kaleidoscape the other day that you had bought, Ghostbusters. We ought to watch that." And I'm like, "Well, you want to watch it tonight? I got a podcast later." But she's like, "Well, yeah, let's do it." So we come home. I'm like, "That'll be great too," because I'm wanting to wrap up my thoughts on the Arundel, and I need to do the final review. And then tomorrow morning we'll be loading that up and taking it over to Don Dunn's house. He's going to review the center channel and the 2 towers, and then Gene is going to take the bookshelves and review those. And so we started watching it. Number one, it's a phenomenal movie. Like, there's so many times where it's like really quiet, and then just all of a sudden just stuff hits the fan. I mean, it's like, pow! I mean, just big, whether they're, shooting a little laser at the ghost, or the ghost, I don't want to ruin the movie, but the ghost does something, or there's an action sequence there. It was phenomenal. I'll be honest. Like, what you're seeing online from, I know he did a review on them, and I mean, he loved them. Like, he's like, "Oh my gosh, these are probably the best speakers I've ever reviewed." I don't know if they're the best speakers I've ever owned, or reviewed in my own space, but especially after tonight, because I kept like bumping up the volume, and I'm looking over at Jessica. Same thing in my video I was talking about with Scott, but I'm bumping it up. She doesn't notice it, so I keep notching it up. And it was rocking in there, man. I had one little subwoofer, the 1V. So it's like I think it's a 13-inch, 14-inch subwoofer. No, maybe 15. I don't even remember exactly. But it, like, that power combined with, because I'm running the crossover at about 60 hertz on them.
They all seem small when you got 4 18s in the theater. That's why you're like, "Oh, just this little subwoofer."
But it was, I'm telling you, man, it's a legit system. Like, this can be a phenomenal. Here we go. Let me see if I can share my screen for those of you that haven't seen this thing yet. It's nuts. Let's share this window here. There you go. Look at that thing, man. So it's hard to get an idea of scale, but that TV looks like, I mean, you might think, "Oh, that's a 55-inch TV, 65." It's an 85-inch TV.
Yeah, what's that center channel weigh? 150 pounds?
No, it's like 180.
Yeah,
181, I think, and then it's 174 for the towers. I don't even know why the center channel weighs more than the towers, because it's basically the same thing laid down.
Yeah, that's strange.
But that cabinet below there is 90, I think it's 96 inches wide.
They must have put special bracing just because it lays on its side like that. So maybe they did extra bracing, possibly.
Yeah, and they may have done that because some people may put a TV on top of it. So, but
I was gonna say, is it meant to be like with bigger? I don't know. Yeah,
I don't know if anybody really knows what this system's for. Like, who really is the target audience? Because it's gonna take one heck of a room. Now my wall is really big. It's probably, what is my room? It's about 25 feet wide. We've got 12-foot ceilings, and then it's about 15 feet deep. But then it opens up behind that to the kitchen, and over here's the dining room. So that's pretty open, but that system could easily go in a room much, much bigger than my room. It's got a lot of output, especially on the low end. That's what part of what was so impressive was, especially during Ghostbusters, there's a lot of, because like the voices and the rumbles from like the ghost is really deep. And so it just like, it was almost like the Arendal 1528 series was made for that movie, or the movie was made for them. It was a great, great, great experience. And I was even surprised. I didn't think the 1V was going to really be able to hang with them. Dude, I don't know how much difference. I'd be interested to go back and play the movie and just turn the sub down, like not turn it off so they're running full range, but just turn the sub off for a second, like turn it down in their app just to see how much the subwoofer was playing. But I have a feeling it was like both of them were really, really cranking it out. Because like I said, I've got them crossed over a little bit lower at 60 hertz. But man, it was fun, really, really fun. Dialogue on it is really, really done well. No issues there having to, pick out the dialogue and go, what did they say in that? They've just done a great job with the series. I think they look really, really cool. But it's not going to be for everybody. Number one, the price point. I mean, they're $9,500 a pair for the towers. I think the center channel is about $4,600.
Wow.
I forget how much the bookshelves are. They might be $4,600 a pair or something like that. So it's definitely expensive. But man, it's legit, dude. It's a sweet, sweet system for both music as well as movies. And Gene, I don't measure on my channel. Every once in a while, I'll measure subwoofers, but Gene he took measurements in my room, and he was like really surprised, like how well they measured in room. And because my room is not ideal. I mean, you can see there's flat wall. I do have a big carpet. We do have this big couch. I do have some, what do you call those? Motorized curtains, I guess. Shades. That's the word I'm looking for. Motorized shades. So that helps a little bit with acoustics, but it's still a pretty lively room. And he's measuring it going, dang, like this is actually very linear, even in your room. And they measured really well down to about 20 hertz. And that's pretty substantial for some tower speakers. And so he'll have a video on his channel, hopefully real soon, so people can see that and get a subjective review from me. But also Jay has measurements that he took even outside and measured there. They measure real well on his channel. Gene's going to have measurements in my room, and then he'll do some more measurements with the bookshelves, once he gets them over to his place. And so definitely it's a cool system. Absolutely, man. But it was a lot of fun tonight. I was surprised Jessica let me crank them up that loud, because it was pretty decently loud, but they're not bright on the top end, So
we're breaking these girls in, Michael.
I'm
get 80 people over here. Why not 100, sissy?
Yeah, I'm really, really surprised that Jessica was, and she never once said, because sometimes she's like, hey, can you turn it down? No, I mean, it was cool.
We're going to get her up to a Bass Brings Us Together event, I tell you, in the next couple of years.
She would never do that. She would never do that.
We got a lot of great restaurants in Chicago. I'm sure there's something that you can entice her with. A nice ride out on Lake Michigan, out on a yacht.
Yeah.
I'm
looking through some of these comments here.
Yeah, I know. I was trying to not miss some of it too. Yeah. Thanks for the advice, guys. Might take me a couple of years, but the plan is to get 2 JTR RS1s, get one in a year, and get another one following year. Buy once, cry once, like Scott said in game. Yeah. I've always been the fan of, if you really want something, try not to settle. Just wait till you can get that, and then add another one later on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, what I found in my journey, the times that I have something in my mind that, because I know I can't afford the most expensive, but I also don't want to buy the cheapest, because I found in my life, if I buy the cheapest, it doesn't last that long. I'm not satisfied. So I try to buy something in the middle of that ground. But the times that my brain says I want this, but I settle for this because of cost, every single time I end up not being happy with that. I always second guess. What would that have sounded like or been like? And I end up selling what I have and end up buying what I originally wanted, and it cost me more money. So I'm with you. Save up your money. Like if you've got your vision on these RS1s, 2 of them, get the one, save up, and you're going to enjoy having one of them. And then the second one's just going to add to that. And eventually you'll get like Scott, you've got 30 of these in your room. And then you're still going to add one more.
We're just going to have 20. It ain't going to be 30. Now you're talking crazy.
You got to be rounded. I like that 20 number.
Yeah, that's how it's really the only thing that makes sense.
Yeah.
To whom?
To me and my crazy friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for the people on here that aren't aware, so Michael, Obsessed Home Theater, which is obviously your new business venture, is actually, I mean, it's live now. That website is live, and
100%.
Yeah, man, kudos to you, man. That's to you and your partners. I met Rusty at M-Wave last year. I mean, that's about one of the nicest guys you can ever meet.
So kind. Yep.
Yeah, it's certainly. I don't know the other guys that well, but I imagine you wouldn't do any business with people you're not super comfortable with. So, no. But we're excited for you to see where this goes, man. I think it's going to be. And I don't want to spoil anything for you, but when I was on the phone with you the other day, you said that you had a pretty big deal that you got somebody else on board that you're going to be selling. So that's cool too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
we've got
carrying the best of the best.
Yeah. So the short version of the thought process on that. So I met Matt Mormon with Obsessed Garage. So I bought this t-shirt the other day because we just ordered our t-shirts using this same material. So I wanted to see what it feels like. And I trust Matt's opinion because he bought a ton of different fabrics, and then he finally figured out, okay, this is the brand that we want to carry for Obsessed Garage. So I bought the t-shirt from his website. I love the fabric. I love the softness of this. But I met Matt about 4 years ago at doing his home theater tour. So got to hang out with him, and he told me even then, he said, man, Michael, I've been following your channel for a couple years now. I think we could work together sometime down the road. I didn't know what that meant, didn't know what that would look like. A couple years later, he said, he messaged me on Facebook, and we'd kept in contact here and there, but he said, hey, I'm still thinking about it, but I'm not ready yet. And again, I'm like, I don't know what he's referring to. So last year, not this past CDIA, but the year before, he messages me and he says, hey, Michael, I'm at CDIA. Are you at CDIA? I said, yeah, I'm finishing up the Hisense booth. And, he said, you want to meet up? I said, sure. So we met up, we went out to dinner, and Matt began to share with me just a vision that he had for how he and I could work together. And what he's done on his channel is he has created curated products. He doesn't sell everything in the garage space. He found one soap that he loves. He bought all of them, and he began to test them as a car detailer, and he owns a nice Porsche, and he's got a nice garage. And he bought all these soaps, and he found out that, man, this is the one that I love. This is why I love it. And he reached out to that manufacturer and said, hey, look, I love your product. I'd like to sell it. I'd like to be a dealer. And I believe in your product so much. I want to share that with my audience. And so he became a dealer for a soap. And then he found a couple of pressure washers that he liked. He bought like 20 pressure washers, and he began to test them. And he's like, these are garbage. These are trash. These are okay, but these are awesome. These are great. And there may be 3 different price points because he realizes his audience, they're at different levels of income. And so he's got a budget friendly, he's got kind of a medium one, and then he's got a more expensive. And I think there are even 3 different brands. So it's not like he's just cherry picking one brand. He's literally looking at this price point. What is the best one to buy in that category and that price point? So we're basically taking that same business model that he has and applying it to home theater. Home theater was actually his first love. He worked at, I think it was Tweeter, maybe, back in the day. He was in home theater sales there. He bought the domain for Obsessed Home Theater before he bought obsessedgarage.com. But he pursued this garage business first, but he always had that domain in the background. And so when he approached me, he's like, Michael, I love seeing you interact with your audience, and I've been following you for years. I believe in who you are as a person. We're like-minded in our faith. And I think we could just really have some fun with this. We could provide the answers that your audience continues to ask you, which is, what should I buy? I'm looking at this. I'm looking at this. You've had experience with a lot of these. And not that my opinion is the end all be all, but the goal is to, like, prime example, Cantana sent me their remote. So I'm going to be testing this one. See, is it any good? Ava, even though they're dealer based, they literally, we were on a call with them today and they shipped me one out today. So I'm going to get to play with that. I recently had another remote, Alanis. It wasn't a good fit for what we're doing because, quite frankly, it's a little difficult to program. I want to find something that's easy to program, that I can teach people how to use, that works really well, that looks great, feels great, and in all those categories. But we started off with one product, one brand, that was Kaleidoscape. And the biggest reason is because I own Kaleidoscape, and there's really no competition for Kaleidoscape. There's no platform that you can purchase legal, lossless audio and video, movies and concerts. There's just nothing else out there. So that made an easy, okay, that I can get behind. But when it comes to things like speakers, well, for the home theater, I've been down this journey for 7 years figuring it out. Like, I've tried this in my home theater. I've reviewed this speaker, and the one that I landed on that just like really gets me excited is JTR. So we just launched that literally this past week on the website. So we'll be the first JTR dealer, or we are the first JTR dealer. So I'm super pumped about that. I had a gentleman come over literally just a couple of days ago, and after hearing mine, he ended up giving me a deposit for 4 RS1s. He was so excited. So I'm pumped about that.
Nice.
And then, as you said, that we're dealers for a couple other brands. Again, these are brands that I've already experienced their products. I love their products. I own their products. And so that just makes sense. But part of the journey is going to be, like, JTR is great for home theater, but most people aren't going to. Now, you guys are crazy. Y'all are putting RTJs in your living room. The average consumer isn't going to do that. They're looking for something pretty or smaller or beautiful.
Kat thinks they're beautiful.
I love them.
She goes, I wouldn't change nothing. And Kat's an
Absolutely.
interior decorator.
But you're super rare. So,
Yeah.
We're now going to be buying different, speakers, testing them, using them, and then we'll determine, like, which one do we really, that we can just get behind. We love the product. And again, it may be one brand for a budget. It may be a different brand for the mid, and maybe a different brand for the higher end.
You should get a wife-proof section.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
And she comes up with ideas all the time. That's why I keep telling her, I said, you're such a big part of it. Because today she's giving me ideas about the car show that we're going to throw. So she's an invaluable asset to me, for sure. Outside of us raising a family together, I try to give her praise all the time. Like, she's like, I don't feel like I'm that big a part of all this. I'm like, dude, you just don't understand. Mm-hmm. Oh, because I before we get any further, Mike, I didn't want to skip over Don's question. Don Hensley had a question for you.
I literally was just looking at that.
Yeah. He wanted to know, he says, what was the end result? Did you have to move the Emotiva amp in front of the cabinet when Don and Gene came over?
Yeah. So when they came over, we only listened to 2-channel. So I didn't have a sub, because that's what Gene was mostly interested in. How do these sound for music? Because he's a big music guy. Don's a big music guy. They both like home theater, but I think they're probably more on the 2-channel than on movies. So we only had the 2 speakers set up. We got the center channel placed, but I didn't hook anything up. Since then, I'm using the Emotiva DR3. That's 600 watts by 3 going to the front LCR, left, center, and right. And then for the surrounds, I'm using my monoblock amplifiers from Outlaw Audio, the 2220s. I think that's feeding the surrounds like 350 watts per channel.
Who are you guys going to be carrying, Michael, for like preamps. Have you guys decided on like power amps and preamps and stuff yet?
So see, that's a great question. So part of the journey and I think what a lot of people do is they have a business and they launch and like, here's our full business. We are doing this thing totally backwards. It's totally different than most business models. We started off with one product. Now we added a second product or a second brand. And part of the fun for me is going to be, who do we choose for processor? Right back here, you can't see it, it's in the dark, but I just received today, yesterday, an Acurus Muse, 2 Acurus M8 amplifiers, and their calibration software. So I'm going to be testing it out to see, is this a good fit for those larger channel counts, the 16, the 20 count. Matt is he's interested in using that for his theater room. So I figured it's going to be a couple months before he's building out his JTR system. He'll have a video on his channel, which I think is pretty cool. He came over the other day to hear my system. He's on JTR subs, and he's heard some systems, but I don't know if he's ever heard a JTR system in a home. So at the end of that demo, I'm like, I was just curious because he's got kind of sensitive ears. He doesn't like a speaker that's bright, and I don't think they're bright, but I know that they've just got so much output. And so I would ask him, hey, is that too loud? No, we're good. We're good. And we just cranked it. And at the end, he's like, this was phenomenal. He said, I was originally thinking about doing like the 110s, the smaller speaker. He said, I'm going all out. And he may do the 215s in his theater room, you know.
Oh, that'll be nice.
Yeah. So
just tell him to go RTJ everywhere.
What's that?
RTJ everywhere.
His room isn't that big. It's long, but it's actually narrower. I think it's like 12 foot wide.
215s are huge just in themselves. I mean, yeah, because those are as tall as you.
Yeah, they're enormous. I saw them at Jeff's house. So that was just cool to get his. But basically, with Obsessed Home Theater, that's what we're going to be doing. I'm doing the same thing I've been doing for 7 years, but instead of like just kind of giving you, say, a product, whatever, the remote, and going, hey, here's the remote. Here's what I like, what I don't like about it. If it's a good fit for you, here's a link to Amazon, or here's a link to Crutchfield or Audio Advice or whoever. You can go buy it there. The ones that we want to get behind, we're going to buy them. We're going to stock them. We're going to ship them. We're going to inventory them, all of that. Add them to our website. Those are the things that we're just going to be chasing. And my end goal is to create end-to-end solutions for consumers. And so if you look on Matt's channel, he did the same thing. So you can either just buy individual products, or you may be the type of person that says, look, I don't have the time to do all the research. I don't have the ability to get this speaker and this speaker and this speaker and this subwoofer and these cables. And so ultimately, long-term, we'll have packages that you can literally buy. Think, like a home theater in a box. Think of a home theater on a pallet kind of deal, or multiple pallets.
Yeah.
That's
usually that gives us some sort of discount, and then everybody loves to save a few bucks.
Yeah. So that's kind of the thought there. So you might, if you got $5,000, maybe it's this AVR with these 2 speakers and this subwoofer, or maybe it's, a 5.1 system, but we're going to have the cables with it. We're going to have, all the speakers, the subwoofers, pretty much everything that you need, and just have different packages. So I'm thinking it's just going to be cool to see this grow. And as I test more products and figure out what are those great products that I'm willing to get behind and we're willing to invest in and spend our money on and stock these and ship these, and just provide that support for customers. I'm excited about that, like super, super excited about that. And I'm inviting my audience to just join me for this journey. Like, you're seeing us build this business from literally the ground up, and we're showing you the behind the scenes kind of thing, so I'm super pumped about it.
Hey, Rick, to answer your question, are the Noesis 210 loudspeakers musical for 2-channel listening? Now, we just bought 5 of the new 2025 version 210s to put into the theater, and I think they sound absolutely amazing for music. I was actually doing some demos over the weekend of just them in 2-channel mode, playing like Nora Jones, where she's playing on the piano. Perfect center imaging. You know, the guys are convinced that she's just sitting in the room with you playing the piano for you. And that's, you know, that's more of the entry level side. You know, you're not even getting into the 212s or the 215s or the RTJs or anything. So definitely, now, if you're just getting the 210s like the HTs or the RMs, there's not going to be a lot of low end on those because they're more of like a monitor speaker, which is fine because I got enough subwoofers in here. But if you get like the 210, you know, RTs, you know, those play well down into the 20 hertz range and up, and you can just do a dedicated 2-channel system with those. Actually, Jeff Permanian's father, I met him a couple of years ago, and he gave me a 2-channel demo of his vinyl collection. And that's all he has is a pair of 210 RTs. And I mean, they're full range speakers, no doubt. And I thought they sounded absolutely amazing.
So when you say that, about the only speaker that Jeff has that's really full range would be the 215s.
Well, I mean, if you're talking like 18 hertz to 20, but I think, you know, like these 210s I have, they're good to like 60 or 80. And then
they're not going to go down to,
yeah.
So the 210 RTs, so they go down to 38 hertz.
Well, yeah, but those are the towers.
So which one?
He just said 210, so I didn't know if he meant like the 210 HTs, the 210 RMs. Those are only the monitor speakers.
Yeah, so 60 hertz for the monitor. So now you're getting even higher. So either way, you're going to run any of these systems with a subwoofer.
Yeah, the only one you could really, you know, Jeff years ago at Expona ran a full Dolby Atmos setup with no subwoofers, and he got rated the best bass of everybody there because he did 7 or 9 215s and rerouted all the LFE. You know, so if you're going to go with either the RTJs or the 215s, those are absolutely from, you know, the RTJs, I think Gene and Jeff measured those in Gene's smart home, and they were getting like 3 or 4 hertz out of the RTJs.
Wow. That's nuts.
But you know, the 215s will do 18, 15 hertz in room. But from a musicality standpoint, like voices, piano, stuff like that, I think what a lot of people miss is a lot of money's tied up in the compression driver and these speakers. They're so well, actually, when I first met, this is a quick story I'll tell. When I first met Jeff, and this was 5 years ago, he took me through his facility, and he's like, I put that in there and put this, and these are Baltic Birch boxes. I was like, dude, that compression driver is well over $1,000.
Yeah.
He goes, yeah. I was like, so, and he's sitting there making all these huge crossovers by hand himself with all the best parts that you can buy. I'm like, dude, how are you selling these speakers so cheap?
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, you know what? And by the time you warranty them, have the boxes painted and wire up the speakers and your labor, man, for the longest time, it really blew my mind. I mean, they're expensive until you really dig into them and you understand, like, wow, this speaker's made with just about the best of everything.
Yeah, I'm going to show you. Let me back up here. I did a tour of. Here, let me share my screen.
So you guys heard Michael's new business. If you guys didn't know, Kat and I actually own. It's weird we filed for LLC that we own. Bass Brings Us Together now in our business. Bringing people together.
I love it, dude. So these are some of these are the compression or coaxial drivers and the 110 slants. You can see that. But I want to show you. So these crossovers right here, Jeff hand builds these. Watch this next part right here. So that is the crossovers in his speaker. Look at those capacitors.
Yeah, and those are only partially built. He's missing a few pieces. Correct. And 2 of those go into one speaker.
Yeah. Yeah, that is absolutely bonkers. Let me see. Does that make it bigger for y'all?
Yeah. And literally, those aren't even doing it justice. You're holding those with 2 hands.
Yeah, they're heavy as crap. Look how big that is. That's his hand.
Yeah.
And then he ends up showing me the compression driver. And he takes it apart. So he shows, all right, there's this tool. Let's get to, here's the compression driver right here. So this is one of the compression drivers. he told me, he said, Michael, that compression driver, let me go a little bit further in the video. He said that compression driver at that time, this is like 4 years ago. He said, my cost, my physical cost, what it cost me as the manufacturer, it's $900 for that one driver.
Yeah, and that's probably buying 200 at a time. So you're getting a discount, or 500 at a time or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is one of the woofers in a subwoofer. So
we got 18 of those in our theater.
Yeah.
Soon to be 20.
It's a monster. And then he shows me the compression driver. He actually takes it apart after I put it down.
I mean, you were strong back then. You still got those muscles?
Oh, dude, I got that dad strength, man.
No, it's grandpa's strength now.
Yeah, exactly.
You're roaming around.
Yeah. So he takes this apart and just shows you, like, this speaker right here alone is $900. His cost 4 years ago. So that probably $1,200 his cost now, and that's in one speaker, and he's got 2 other speakers, the 2 woofers and the cabinet.
And you got to make the speaker grill, and you got to box everything up, cardboard packing. Yeah, it really blew me away once I, I always heard about JTR, but the thing is a subwoofer configuration never worked out for me because they were very narrow and like 4 feet deep. I'm like, there's no way I can ever fit that in my room. And then when he came out with the second, like the sofa table model, I'm actually sitting right next to the very first one ever produced. I bought the first one because as soon as he bought it, I'm like, dude, I can use that. And now my room has 4 different configurations of a sub. That was just to please the community. They're like, dude, we just need different configurations. So he entered a lot of, he opened up a lot of avenues for sure for people to use this product. And I've been a huge fan ever since I just walked through his facility and I see what the speakers were getting built with. I'm like, dude, this is over the top.
Yeah. Yeah. He basically over engineers them. So you're not like, here's how crazy Jeff is. I've seen him tell people, I want you to try to blow it up. I really do. Cause I want to find the flaws. I want to see at what point do these break down so that I can make sure that I make it better. So
this subwoofer next to me, the first one I bought, and that has a 240 volt amp and it's 6,000 watt.
Yeah,
I've entertained close to 500 people with that subwoofer at max volume for 5 years.
Yeah.
And it still works, I think.
You can't tell anymore.
You can't tell if there's 16 or 18 of them playing. So yeah, I'm fairly certain that one still works.
That's funny.
It does. Otherwise, you'd be down here.
And this is a testament because I've had Klipsch THX Ultra, I've had Klipsch Reference, I've had SVS. Powerstone Audio, and I've blown tweeters, drivers, amps. But I mean, if you've been here, dude, I don't take it easy on nothing.
No.
And I got 18, drivers plus 7 other speakers. Like I've never blown an amp or a driver or nothing, dude. And you're like you said, Jeff has been to multiple of my events, dude, and we're going way over the top on the volume. And he'll be like, "Oh, is that all you got? Come on, crank it up some more." I'm like, dude, this guy's nuts. So it's and I've said this a million times and I'll say it forever, is I finally was able to build a system to where it wasn't my equipment's limiting factor. It's literally like right now I can't handle any more of this.
Yeah. So, and you're in your home, Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, that's what Symphonics Audio, for me, that's what Arundel's doing for their speakers, direct to consumer. And I've been hearing a lot of great things about Arundel, and obviously, you've been speaking good about them. I actually heard him at Jonathan's house. He had a pair of monitors there during not 2 M waves ago, and I got to check those out. The Crow says, I love my JTR system. Thanks again, Michael, for that GTR video. I was sold on them. They are in-game speakers.
Yeah. Same here, man.
Paul R. I have a 210 RM as my center. Love it. Just ordered 2 110 SLs for my surrounds. Nice. It didn't take 3 months to get them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, pretty much as long as I've known Jeff, he's had to wait because he has a big following. He really, to me.
And he hands builds all of that stuff himself. Yeah.
I got the 110s.
Built with love. Your guys' wait is not in vain. He's building them from scratch with love.
He is.
Personally.
But the good thing about it is you're not thinking about upgrade. Like I've heard almost every high-end sub out there. I mean, other than like Punk Audio, just because a lot of it's Canadian and there's not a lot around here.
Right.
And I've never once been like, wow, I got to ditch what I got.
Correct.
It just hasn't been that way.
Yeah. And, to answer Paul, that's a big challenge for Jeff is he's got a lot of people that are interested in his products, but he doesn't have the ability to produce them as fast as the demand for the products are. And I really think that we might be able to help provide some support and assistance. Jeff is actually going to come down and visit us in, I think it's like 2 or 3 weeks. And so he's going to visit Obsessed Garage headquarters. We're going to hang out with him and maybe just kind of brainstorm, like, how could we utilize, what Matt has as far as a team that he's developed, a support. And maybe there's a way that we can help him to be able to produce these quicker. Our goal with Obsessed Home Theater is we're placing our first order with him now. And, of course, we're going to have to wait a long time too. But eventually, over time, we would like to be able to have enough of them purchased to where we've got them in stock. And so when you go to the website and if you buy them, then, we're shipping them out like next day kind of thing. So that's ultimately our desire to get to that point. We just got to figure out, like, how can we help assist Jeff in producing those faster so that there isn't a 3-month waiting list.
I've had multiple people reach out to me and be like, dude, I'll pay you retail on a sub of yours now. If I can I know you've had it for a year or 2 years. I don't care.
I don't care. Yep.
We're going to send Scott down there to help build them.
Yeah, there you go.
The problem is I want to play with everything. He'd be like, come on, Scott, I need you to get back to work. So only because this is ignorance on our part, is there going to be at some point like an Obsessed Home Theater like showroom of any kind that we can?
Yeah, great question. So yeah, long-term plan. So right now, Obsessed Garage headquarters is in Lady Lake, Florida, and Matt lives about 35 minutes south of there in the Villages in Florida. And so he's currently building a design center. They design about 100 garages a month for his customers.
Wow.
And so in that space, it's a big area, brand new community, brand new, think of it kind of like a not town hall, shopping mall, shopping center kind of thing in the middle of this massive community of young families. So they've got one of the best charter schools in the U.S., like the 4th best charter school. So it's going to be a great community. Matt has a home there. So he's building a design center there. In that design center, at some point, we'll have a room for like a dedicated theater room, because Matt is, his heartbeat is the garage. That's like the anchor of the home for him. But his obsession doesn't end in the garage. When he goes inside his home, he's obsessed with kitchen and appliances. And so on his website, he's now selling those. He's got kitchenware and outdoor living space and all kinds of stuff. And so that will also trickle into the home theater. And that's how that synergy applies. And so his audience that are interested in nice cars, a lot of them like home theaters. A lot of home theater guys like nice cars. So there's definitely some nice overlap there. And then long term, at some point, this may be 3 years down the road, 5 years down the road, we don't know. Depends on how quickly the business grows. But there is a plan to eventually have our own space for Obsessed Home Theater that you can come. And again, we're not going to have every product, every brand, but these are ones that we have tested, we've kind of vetted, and we say, like, man, we can really get behind these products. Are solid. And so, I could see us having a JTR system there, a home theater that you could come and demo and experience for yourself. Because a lot of people are like, man, I wish I could hear a system. Well, come fly down, schedule an appointment with us, and we'll give you a demo. So, but yeah, that is probably long-term, at least probably 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road. But we're in it for the long haul, man. I'm ready to do this thing the rest of my life.
I know a lot of people certainly have this question. Any future forecasts on you doing some kind of, I mean, obviously probably not weekly anymore, but you get behind the mic doing any kind of, because I see a lot of chatter in your group and stuff, be like, man, I miss chatting.
I was wondering that myself.
Yeah, Kat even said too, it's weird not having Michael on the TV on Sunday nights when we're, getting ready for the week. So any plans with that?
Yeah, I could see us definitely starting up a new podcast, but the biggest thing is there's been we have been working on Obsessed Home Theater now, getting it like just the behind the scenes stuff, more than just getting the LLC. I mean, making agreements, like written agreements, legal agreements between me and my two business partners, and getting the website developed. We probably spent 4 to 5 months developing the website, and we're
who's the other business partner? And I obviously know Rusty and Matt. I'm somewhat familiar with. Who is there?
That's it. That's us three. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So me and Matt. So think of it this way. I'm basically kind of like the face of the business. I'll be doing all the content on my channel when when I'm talking about this remote. I'm just going to continue to be me. Here's what I have here's what we've tested. Here's what I like. Here's what I dislike. And then if I love this, whatever, then I take it to the team and go, hey, let's check this out together. And then we decide, hey, we'd love to carry that. We reach out to the brand and say, hey, look, we would like to become a dealer for your product. And we don't carry everything you have, but we really love this. And we think my audience would love that as well. A lot of them would. So, there'll be that aspect of it. But Rusty, he's the CEO of the company. So he does all the legal stuff. He handles like managing the team, the web development team that built the website, the graphics guys, ordering the t-shirts. So he does like all that stuff that I don't want to do. I just want to make content. I want to play with the gear, but Rusty doesn't want to stay always in the background doing spreadsheets all day and being in meetings all day. So he and I will be doing most of the testing. So eventually within the next 6 months, basically once Jessica finishes her school year, we'll be moving up to somewhere in that area, either Lady Lake or down in the villages near that area.
Oh, I already know what you're going to ask.
What?
Is Jessica going to get her pool?
Oh,
yeah. That's all the time. She goes, I wonder if Jessica's going to get her pool now.
Yeah, hopefully. So, and we may even choose to downsize first and so that we're not
start with a small pool.
Yeah.
So you guys are almost empty nesters, right?
Yeah.
Kinda. Yeah.
Kat's definitely Team Jessica. I want her to get her pool.
Yeah, get that one.
Yeah. So we'll either have a community pool or she'll have her own pool.
So Scott was talking after seeing those over the weekend, seeing the much larger home theaters. He's like, I think we need to move. Because for years I've been like, I really want a pool. And we just decided it wasn't like, because of where we live, it's just not economically whatever. And so he goes, I really think that we need a house with a bigger basement. He goes, I got to get you that pool. I'm really needing to get you that pool.
I love it. That'd be fun.
We're not going nowhere, sir.
Yeah. But even that, in the move, so we're going to document Matt's build out of his home theater. We've been documenting his journey in his living room setup. He's already on version 2 of the living room.
Are you doing that filming, or does he have a team for that?
So it just depends on, sometimes it's me. Like I'm going up there about every 2 weeks now. So we just scheduled for me to come up there, make content. He came down with Rusty just this past week and he heard my system. And so he made a video. He hasn't edited it yet, but it'll be on his channel about his experience with mine and what he,
that's got to be strange for you that somebody's doing a YouTube tour on your room.
Yeah. And it wasn't it's a shortened version of a tour. I mean, we talk a little bit about all the gear, but it's really more about like, what was his experience? I don't even know what all he shared, because he said, hey, I'm going in the theater room. Give me about 10 minutes and then I'll come get you. So he filmed in there while Rusty and I were in the kitchen and living room hanging out. When he finished, I got mic'd up. He kind of asked me some questions and had me walk through, here's my screen, here's this, here's the speakers, here's subwoofers, here's the equipment. And so I don't know what he's going to say on his video, but I'm curious to check that out on Obsessed Garage. But yeah, it is definitely kind of weird having somebody else come and kind of do a tour of my home theater. But I'll be documenting a lot, like any opportunity that we have document somebody's journey. We're going to take that opportunity. Rusty's going to be building out, making some changes to the home that he bought. It was Matt's previous home, and it has a Dyne audio system in it. And so Rusty's going to have his own personal journey of what he's going to be upgrading. And so we'll film that. Filming Matt's living room. He's going to do a dedicated JTR system upstairs. When we move up there, then of course there's going to be more following my journey and me even documenting the build of it.
Yeah, even the move.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
So are Jessica and the kids, I mean, they're all on board. They're excited about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Jessica is definitely, I mean, we've got family here in Plant City, but we're only going to be 2 hours away. Yeah. You know, the hardest thing is we keep my grandson every weekend on Saturday, or I'm sorry, on Sunday.
Yeah.
Like we come home, like we pick him up from, like, we're at church. So we'll go into the nursery and get him. We'll take him home, let Jacob and Alanis kind of do their own thing and just have a break for a couple hours to about 5 or 5:30. And then they come and pick him up. So that we'll have to figure that part out. You know, do we come down on, you know, Saturday and pick him up and bring him up there, and he just spends the night with, you know, with her and me and Mimi and Papa, and you know, so we got to figure that dynamic out. But my youngest daughter's at college, so she's staying on campus. My middle daughter, she's going to nursing school, Naomi. She might end up getting an apartment with Rebecca, our youngest. So those things, I mean, we just got to figure that out. But Jessica's ready for something new. She's ready for a new school, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you and I talked about that before. Yeah.
It's just so challenging, really, really challenging for a lot of reasons. And she's been a school teacher for like 21 years. So I would love for her to get, I'd love for her to get into a nicer school with some kids that have better parental support at home. Most of her kids, like, parents don't help out at all. Very, very low income, very poor school. And so there's just a lot of challenges with that. So I'd love to get her in a better space to where, like, headspace, because she comes home almost every day. She's just frustrated and discouraged.
Yeah. You want to help, but you know, you can only do so much. Yeah.
Yeah. So I want her to be kind of where I'm at, to be just chasing what you love, enjoying your life, enjoying your career. She loves the kids. It's not the kids. It's just all the other stuff that goes along with it. Yeah. So
that'll be fun. You and all the boys living close to each other. That'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah. It'll be easier for us to film and document and have meetings and just all that. We know we can grow the business
lunches.
Yeah.
Well,
honestly, we just booked our trip to CES. I've never been to CES, and that's huge.
That's on Vegas, right?
Vegas, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I might be going out there. I don't know if I'm allowed to go in. Is it for?
So CES is open to the public. I think the cost is like $300. I think.
I get a sponsor. I think Q-Tip is going to be sponsored.
There you go. Nice.
Yeah, I just wear a big Q-Tip t-shirt.
Yeah. Get Manscaped to sponsor you. I think they're going to be there.
I'll take it. I'll take anybody. It don't matter.
Yeah, but at least it's open to the public. Unlike Cedia is more like dealers. So we're gonna go that, me, Matt, and what'll be cool about that, this will be something kind of for me. You know what I mean? Like every year I go to Cedia, and it's really about content. It's about filming for the brands and sponsorships.
Well, it's work. You're making a living.
Yeah. So this will be more personal. Like, we're just going to go hang out. I'll make content there, but I don't think the purpose will be, you know, to just do like when I do Cedia, man, I'm filming sometimes 11 to 14 videos in a period of 3 days.
I'll probably meet up with you guys out there too.
Yeah, dude, that'd be awesome. Seriously. Let me know.
There's a question in here.
What you got?
Yeah, I wasn't familiar with that.
I have the FCI THX for my center channel. Do you think that they will sound good with the Noesis 210? So one thing I can tell you, Rick, is when I was building out my JTR theater, I started out with the subwoofers, and I had an all clips speaker system. Then later on, I got the LCR, left, center, and right. So now I've got a front sound stage that's JTR. I don't know how long I rocked that for, probably a couple of years with the JTR up front, and then Klipsch surrounds and Klipsch in ceiling speakers. And so is it perfect? No. Did it sound great? Yeah, still enjoyed it. Once I went to the 110 HT SLs from JTR, total game changer. Like, they are just absolutely bonkers, but I still enjoyed it. So the good thing with let me see, that is your center channel. So the hardest thing there is your center channel is going to be different than like surrounds and your tops, because the tweeter is going to be different. The mid range is going to be different. It's going to be
as things pan from the left to the right, you're going to hear a different sound signature on the center channel for sure. I think that the center is one of the most, I mean, if not the most important speaker there. So
so that's going to be hard, but I have heard people having mixed matched center channels. So think of it this way: long term, that's probably not going to be your end goal. Your end goal would be to get a matching center channel, whether it's another 210 RT or getting one of the horizontal monitors, laying it on its side. That would be more ideal for sure, because now you've got the same components.
Your room correction, depending on what you use, will help.
It'll help that.
It'll help try to blend those in more, but you'll enjoy it, but you're definitely gonna be able to tell a difference.
Yeah.
But room correction will help some with that, but
and
definitely a great place to start for sure.
Yeah, worst case scenario, like if you just put it together and you're like, oh gosh, this is a total mismatch. It sounds like garbage. You can always run it in just stereo and just use that phantom image in the meantime, while you're building this out and saving up for the proper center channel for it. So,
man, we have been on here for over 2 hours, Michael.
I know. Man, you guys talk a lot.
Especially Chatterbox. She just won't.
Yeah.
Man, for everybody just tuning in now, or that is tuning in, I just been dropping May 3rd being for our 5th annual Bass Brings Us Together meet. If you want to be part of that, you certainly got to shoot me a private message. If you guys have been shooting me any messages, obviously we're tied up here on the podcast, but so Youthman, Jeff Promenium, Mark Seaton, there's Tony from JTR. He'll be there.
Tony, what's up, buddy?
So so May 3rd, the 5th annual Bass Brings Us Together event. If you guys want to come, 70 people, 50 open spots to the general enthusiast public. So certainly looking forward to seeing some old faces, some new faces. You get to hang out with people like Youthman and Jeff and Mark and Tony. I mean, it certainly is. Have some good food, some good experiences, and definitely just being surrounded by 70 people that are diehard enthusiasts that have driven all over or flown all over, only because not only do they want to check out cool stuff, but they just want to hang out. Yeah. I think that's just the number one thing we get out all these meets is all you guys get into this. Like, I'm not just some nerd in my basement by myself. And the relationships. I mean, I started the Bass Brings Us Together Facebook group 3 months ago, and there's 6,000 people in it now. Yeah. Everybody's in there talking.
People want the bass.
And based on, and we had to license that name because then people were trying to steal it from us once they found out it was catchy. So we spent, I don't know, like $1,000 for the LLC and the license to own the name, which we're in business of bringing people together. Other than us selling some shirts, we don't really sell anything that isn't, we just, at some point, we want to throw huge events like for Car Audio Net, and those will be paid events. Yeah, but right now, we're just entertaining in our home, and we're just in the business of bringing people together. We're able to do that through sponsorships, like we've had Able Sewer, South Shore Plumbing. We have premium sponsor now, Clarity Creations, and it isn't about us putting money in our pocket. It literally, your StreamYard costs $60 a month. Internet the fastest we can get. Hosting events, you know, that cost $1,000 to have a food truck come out and make food for 70 people.
Yeah.
So it's literally everything's just reinvested back into the community for the experience. We're very taken aback by, you know, people come up like, oh, you know, is Kat going to be at this event? Like, they know who Kat is. Well, she's like, what do they talk about? How do they know me, or why do they want to meet me? But now it's like, she's like, I know this guy, I know that guy, I know this guy. Oh, I remember that guy's face from the chat. Yeah. And it's just been, I mean, we get excited. We've hosted.
You're on year 6.
I'm gonna have a log book for people, like a sign-in book.
Yeah,
because it's something it's something that I'm going to start with the 5th, because I was really trying to nail down, but we are for sure at 400. It's between 400 and 500 people have came in here for demos, and that's quite a bit.
Tony says they only come if I'm here.
We only go if Kat's
there. There you go. Is this your 5th? Base brings us together.
First actual base brings us together event. So
what do you mean?
What do you mean? What?
No, since we started, base brings us together.
At our house.
Well, yeah, but
our annual.
You've been doing this.
Oh no, I've been doing it forever. But I mean, like where we've had 40 plus people at a time.
Okay. So this will be what number?
This is our 5th big one, but our actual event.
I think that's what I meant. Like you're big, kind of, because you have people over to your home all the time.
I just had 20 people over here last weekend. Right. And in 3 weeks, we got 12 people coming by.
Yeah.
It's really come into almost a monthly thing now, to where there's 8 to 12 people coming by.
Yeah.
And we decided to take December off just because, you know, Callie's still little. We want to do a lot of Christmas and holiday stuff with her. But I'm already completely booked for January. There's like 6 people on for February. Yeah. And it seems silly that somebody's like, hey, I want to. Me and you had this chat from behind the scenes, Michael. The people are upset.
Yeah.
You're like, dude, you want me to wait 6 months to hear your stereo for speakers I won't get for 3 months?
Right.
I'm like, dude, I'm doing the best I can. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not an official licensed JTR showroom or JVC showroom.
Right.
I mean, or, you know, Seymour Screen showroom. I'm just your regular enthusiast showing people
that's a guy who feels entitled, and that aggravates me, because you're not entitled to anything. You've graciously opened up your beautiful home and your beautiful systems to share that literally with people all over the world. If somebody wanted to fly in from Europe or from Australia or from Germany, you'd be like, come on, it's open, you know? And so for somebody to say, oh, and get grouchy and say, I'm out of here because, you know, I got to wait 3 months, you know, that's trash, man. Come on. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Probably an impatient pants like this guy.
Yeah.
Well, Mark Fox, hey, Mark's a patron of ours. We certainly appreciate that. And I know that you know Youthman very well. And actually, Mark, you know, has been dealing with some health issues, but he messaged me today, because I released it to our Patreon members about the May 3rd event yesterday. He's like, dude, I'm going to do everything I can to make it. He lives in California. He goes, save me a spot. So that'd be
awesome for sure.
Now that Tony's in the chat, he might know more than this, or even Youthman, you might know. I wasn't aware of a redesign on the 212 RTs. Was Tony, if you're still here?
Yeah, Tony, let us know if there were some specific changes made to the 212 RTs. And my guess is it wouldn't be as much of a redesign, but Jeff does periodically make upgrades to his subwoofers and sometimes to the drivers. So,
you know, it's funny, Mark, since you're on here, I was actually just at a home theater, the one that Haterade just released of Rich Tanner's. And I said, oh, dude, you got rid of the clip-in ceilings. He goes, yeah, I bought these from a guy out in California, these new 110s from Mark Fox. He's like, you probably don't know who he is. I was like, dude, I just had a live Zoom meeting with him like 2 months ago. So, Oh, hold on. Tony says 212 RTs, question mark?
He said he's not aware of any changes for the 212 RTs. So, like I said, sometimes periodically Jeff will make some modifications. You know, he'll basically have a tweak on the subwoofer, And so he'll introduce that, and upgrade those.
And see, that's an important reason why I need to order my 10th one. I actually should probably place that order tonight, because if Jeff is to change anything, then the new sub would be different than the current, because I have all current models.
Mm-hmm.
If he does a subwoofer redesign or amp redesign or anything like that, then they won't be matching anymore. So it really only makes sense. So I'm glad that everybody brought that up.
So we'll have to wrap up here shortly so Scott can get on the phone with Tony and Jeff and get that order.
Yeah, no, I just texted Jeff off to the side. It should be here tomorrow.
Yeah, load it up, man. Hey, I think he has like a you've got a special container of your subwoofer, like future subwoofers.
Yeah,
hold aside because he knows Scott's going to buy them eventually.
Yeah, I know Scott's going to be ordering any minute now. I better just pull one out of the.
That's right. They're just on demand for Scott.
I just have a JTR subscription. I pay $49 a month for the rest of my life. I just,
well, that's cheap.
Yeah, that would be great for me, actually. Because
I was like, Jeff, you really ought to consider that. That's funny.
All right, guys. Well, we've been on here for over 2 hours. We certainly appreciate Youthman taking time out of your Friday evening. You could be polishing the china and hanging out with us instead. So, and everybody in the chat, all the subscribers to Youthman's channel, our Patreons, all you guys liking, subscribing, sharing. I mean, this is what it's all about. Everybody hanging out for, a nice, cool, relaxing evening, enjoying the space, enjoying the hobby, sharing our family memories, home theater memories, everything like that. It means a lot more than just being here on the microphone.
Yeah.
We're close with a lot of these people in the chat. We've met them. They've been in our homes. We've had lunch or dinner with them. They've been, I don't know, it's cats blown away. We'll get a message from somebody like, hey, we want to fly in from Nevada to come check out your home theater, and Kat's jaw drops. She's like, I'm still blown away how somebody's like, I'm going to go to the airport, go through security, get on an airplane, fly, rent a car, drive to your house, hang out for the day, do all that in reverse. She goes to.
It's humbling. It really, really is. It's like, but I think that the thing is that you and I were grateful. We're truly grateful for the community that we've developed. We're grateful for the people that are as passionate and crazy as we are, and just willing to go out of their way to be a part of something really cool and unique, such as Bass brings us together. So it's gonna be a fun time, man. Hey,
I see where you said, "Hey, Scott, great seeing you, man." It was great. It was great seeing you too, man. Chester just said, "Cool, Youthman, miss seeing you on Sundays." Well, hey, for everybody that watched this or shared this live, man, you got all of us for 2 hours and 12 minutes. You can't beat that. So, all right, everybody, we're gonna wrap this up. Certainly, it was a fun night. I'm dropping a new video tomorrow. Chase the Bass, my race to 160. Just kind of talking about my journey, if I'm going to get there or not, what I'm going to do to try to get there. So, everybody, man, thanks for hanging out. Man, means a lot to all of us.
I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. Congratulations on your new business venture. We're so excited for you.
We're excited, man. It's like I said, probably more than anything, I'm just grateful, just gratitude. So,
all right, everybody, peace out, Mike. I'll see you in the green room.
Toodaloo.
Take care, guys.
Bye, guys.